Tarkov lets you control your players more than any other game that I've played, and a huge thank you to my sponsors Logitech G, because I use all of their gear to control it. Today I want to show you the keybinds that I've been using, as well as the different options and ways you can control the character to take the most advantage of it if you're new to the game trying to learn it and get into it yourself. To start, let's take a look at leaning. Of course, you can regular lean with Q and E. That'll move you quickly from left to right. However, if you hold down alternate with A or D, this will smooth lean you from left to right. This will happen much slower, but it'll also hold the position. You don't need to hold the button down. That frees up your fingers, so you don't need to continually hold down Q or E as you're moving around and trying to peek an angle. Hitting either Q or E will cancel that lean, bringing you back to center. You can also sidestep lean, which puts a foot out to the left or right by doing alternate with Q or E respectively. This allows you to get a lot more visibility with that lean and can also really help you quick peek an angle. You can also, of course, go prone. I have this set as Z, and you can lean while in this state as well. When it comes to moving around, the first thing that I changed was sprint. It's set to shift with press by default, but by changing this to continuous, it will only make you sprint while you're holding that key down. It will also prevent that stutter effect that can happen when you are set to toggle and you don't stop the sprint before actually stopping. The faster you're moving though, the louder you are, and you can see that with the microphone icon on the bottom left. Of course, just using your headset as well. Depending on what material's on, you might be louder if you're walking on metal, and you can fine tune your speed to stay quieter by using the mouse wheel. Scrolling down will actually slow your speed down, and this arrow in the bottom left shows you your maximum and minimum speeds based on the more weight that you're carrying, the faster or slower you can potentially walk. Scrolling all the way down will make you go as slow as possible in a walking stance. When transitioning between movement speeds, I recommend using the caps lock key, which will toggle you between the slowest speed and whatever your previous speed was set at. But you can get even quieter. Using C, you can go into a crouch stance, but you can get even more fine-tuned with the crouch. Holding C and using scroll wheel allows you to adjust the exact height of your crouch. So if you want to get the perfect angle, you can even combine that with that lean mechanic to find that perfect sweet spot. Using that line on the left, you can see the crouched height that your character is currently set at. So making sure that you're at your lowest crouch stance and walking at the slowest speed allows you to crouch walk as slow and as quiet as possible. When moving, especially up to corners, be careful that you don't get too tight on them, especially if you're using a gun that has a long barrel, because that'll point the gun in the wrong direction and you're not going to be shooting at your target. When it comes to firing, one of the most important things is being in the correct fire mode, whether that's single fire or full auto if you're expecting to be on it. Very common hotkey for that in games is B. That's what I have it set to here. Toggling that, like everything in this game though, makes noise. Checking the fire mode though doesn't make noise, and I've set that hotkey to Control B. Another hotkey that I've changed is switching scopes and magnifications, in this case to mouse back button or mouse 3. This allows my left hand to stay on all of the controls, whether that's crouching, moving, leaning, and just uses my right thumb to adjust that optic magnification so I can do it on the fly at any point. Depending on which optic, I may change this, but my alternate key for this is Control mouse 3 if I need both set at the same time. When looking through those optics, you're gonna wanna hold your breath to steady the shot. In this case, I've changed it to Shift. However, to not counteract with the sprint key, I set this to Shift press, meaning that it's a toggle hold breath. Tapping Shift will begin to hold the breath, and if I unzoom or begin to move or press the Shift key again, it will cancel it. You also have the ability to blind fire in this game. I've set this key to V, which will blind fire around a right corner, and Control V, which will blind fire overhead if you're crouched behind something or need to reach over a wall. While these keys aren't super convenient, this isn't a move too often executed, and by having it set to V, I have full control of WASD to move around and can hit these keys with my pinky and thumb. Another not too commonly used feature, but important to have, is knifing, most commonly used for breaking windows and gaining access to areas. I've set this to Control X to pull out, as well as a double press to Control X to instant use and pull my gun back out. It's common to have V set for melee, but because I don't really ever use that in combat in this game, I decided to switch those hotkeys. Now when it comes to getting information in this game, there's not a lot of UI, so you need hotkeys to even check that information. In this case, knowing how much time is left in the server and what extractions you need to use is set to double tapping O by default. Switching the check time and extractions to a single press of O is nice for simplicity. While that's silent, checking your ammunition is not. And it also takes a bit more time, preventing you from shooting, but it's also extremely important information to have. I've set check magazine to H so I can continue to do this while on the move without having to take fingers off of WASD. If your mag's empty or you want to switch to another one, R will reload you by default, putting the magazine that has the most ammunition in it into your mag. However, holding R and using scroll wheel will allow you to select the exact magazine that you're looking for in your bags. In addition, double tapping R will give you a quick reload. Keep in mind, whenever you do quick reload, rather than putting that used magazine back in your bag, it drops it on the ground, which you're going to have to go find after if you want to keep it. Also to note, if you don't have space in your tactical rig, your character will drop that magazine on the ground anyways. It will only put it in the tactical rig, so if you can move items out of your tac rig into your backpack to free up space, this is ideal. You can only use items that are in your tactical rig or your pockets, so those are some priority slots. Items that are in your pockets or tac rig, though, that you want to use, you can actually set hotkeys for at any time. Mouse over a med or a morphine and select 4, 5, or any number through 0, and you'll set a hotkey that can allow for quick use when in combat. As you're going through and looting items, a super important one to have is a hotkey set for discard. I've set this to X so it's super readily available since there's a lot of time spent looting. If there's an item I want to drop on the ground or discard, whether that's in my own bag or somebody I'm looting to clear up some space, hovering over and pressing X will drop it out, saving me from right-clicking and selecting discard. As well, to speed up the looting process, an Alt-click will equip an item if you have a room available onto your player immediately, whereas a control click will pick it up and put it into one of your inventory slots. Control click will also optimize where that item goes, frags automatically going to tac vests and pockets, and trading items going to your backpack. This only works going onto your player though, and not the other way, so keep that in mind as you loot. While you're looting, you don't actually have to click that search bar on the top, but clicking anywhere in the zone will begin the searching process. If you come across an item with question marks, you can right-click and examine, but what's even faster is middle mouse clicking that item. I also recommend just going through the flea market and examining as much stuff as you can before you get in a raid, so that way if you come across something, you don't have to waste any time examining while you might be in combat. In addition, you won't be able to pick up, unload, or take certain actions if all those items are not already examined in your bag or on whoever you're looting. Now that was quite a crash course, but I hope getting some insight into what hotkeys I use and got to see what I'm using gives you a little bit more insight and helps you develop your own, and even just seeing what hotkeys are in the game in the first place. These are some of the important ones that I really wanted to cover because I'm asked every day on my streams what the heck I'm using, and I wanted a place that I could send to everybody for it. A huge thank you again to Logitech G for sponsoring my channel, my content, and giving me all the buttons I need to press so beautifully. If there's anything you guys have suggestions for future episodes, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, though. That's it for this one. StoneMount64, over and out.